everyone, welcome to HOA Fight Club. I'm Raylene Schifano. I'm going to discuss today the fact that the legislators and the governor are working on legislation to help with middle housing. They're claiming that there's a middle housing crisis, which means there's a lot of lower income people that don't have a home and can't afford to buy a home in the state of Washington. So they're trying to create middle housing that is affordable. Well, in doing so, they have to add these people, and it will be thousands of people, to condo associations and HOAs, mainly condo associations. And in doing so, they're not looking at the big picture. If you are a lower income person or a senior, you're usually on a fixed income. So what the laws state right now is that a board of directors can raise the dues each year with unlimited amounts. They're not capped at a certain percentage rate or anything. They can actually increase your dues 100%, 150%. They can do it lower, but there's a lot of associations that are in desperate need of money, and this is what they're doing to raise that money. I find that there's a lot of money being spent on attorneys, which is one place that I can advise boards to save your money on attorneys. You can always call me for free and I will help you understand your CC&Rs, and I will not charge you anything for my services. So I offer that to homeowners and I offer that to associations. But let's look at what will happen if all of these people that go into these middle housing, if everybody's dues was raised. So when you purchase a home, you go in, they look at your salary, they look at what the house cost and the HOA dues. So when I first purchased my home, my HOA dues were $275 a month, which that was all figured out in our payment and everything. But what they don't figure is what happens each year when those HOA dues increase. If it was a 3% increase each year that they, were maxed at and they couldn't go more than that, then you could understand it. But these guys are going, some associations have done over 100% increase. So these people that are in these that are paying the, $275 a month, and then next year their dues go up to $500 a month. How are these people that are on a fixed income and lower income going to afford to stay in these associations? So what will happen is they won't be able to afford the dues. The association will add late fees and attorney fees to collect all of these dues and then put a lien on their home and foreclose within 90 days. You only have to be $200 past due on your assessment for the association to put a lien on your home in Washington state. Now, they can't use attorney fees and they can't use fines or any other fees to put you past due, but they can use your assessment. So if you are past due on assessments, that is the first thing I say to pay your assessments no matter what. I would pay my assessments before I would pay my house payment. That's how much power the association has over your mortgage. The association can put a lien on, and they can do it in 45 days, and within 90 days they can foreclose on your home. So you want to make sure that your dues are kept current. And a lot of associations have added that if you don't do what you're supposed to do, they can't cut your utilities, but they're cutting your privileges like the pool and all of the other facilities that are in the common areas that you are supposed to be able to use. Now, I'm a firm believer that you should pay your assessments, your dues, your monthly dues, your yearly dues. I think you should be current on those and always pay those. You have agreed to pay that. The problem I see is that nobody is thinking about the future and what it's going to cost that same homeowner to live there in 5 years. So if your dues go up 100% in 5 years, you could be at $1,000 for your dues and maybe $800 for your mortgage. So you really want to pay attention to this, and I think it's something that everybody that is a lower income or a senior, that you call your legislators and let them know that this will hurt you. I also suggest that the legislators change the laws to not needing 51% of the people, of the owners, to pass a budget, but they need to have 51% to deny a budget. So I think they should have to have 51% to increase the dues. 51% of the owners to increase the dues. That's my opinion. Right now, they need 51% of the people to show up and vote down a budget. So if you don't have 51% of the homeowners there during the budget meetings, you're really, really hurting. You have no right even to do anything. They might as well not even hold the meeting, except for they have to send out their budget. And again, you should be asking for financials every year. If you are purchasing into a condo association, I suggest that you have someone like me that can look over those documents, make sure that they're within that last 120 days, they're not fraudulent, they don't have old documents in there trying to pass it off, because that's what my association did. They had the old budget, which showed that there was over $1 million in the reserves, and which they had already spent. But since I got a fraudulent resale cert and at the time didn't know, that hurt us in the long run too. So you want to make sure that everything is good. But I suggest that the governor and the legislators really take a step back and look. I've asked the governor to put me on the committee that is actually investigating these associations and the need for middle housing, because I think that I could add quite a bit. I have no financial gain in the process, so it helps me to be very middle ground on all the decisions. I'm not making a decision because I'm a homeowner, because I do not own in these associations anymore. I am just using the education that I have received from the attorneys that are HOA attorneys and the legislators that I have worked with. And we need to protect the people and protect their right to maintain their home and not be put into foreclosure with unnecessary raises in dues to pay for attorneys, especially, because that's where a lot of them are having to raise the dues. They have to raise the dues to pay for the attorney fees that they accumulate to defend whatever they're not doing right. So we want to make sure that attorneys are not being overzealous. There's quite a few attorneys that will fine you into foreclosure and add thousands to your bill and still think that they can foreclose on your home for fines and fees. I know there's one attorney that's still doing that in Washington State. I have her letters to prove that, and I think that we need to put a stop to it now. So call your legislators, call your governor, and tell them that we need middle housing, but not middle housing that's going to come with all of these association dues and increases each year that could put more people into foreclosure. We'll have a huge middle housing crisis, which will be, everybody will be losing their homes. If we get them into their homes now when it's so crazy, they'll end up losing it in the long run. So we don't want associations taking homes for their own personal gain and attorneys doing the same thing. All right, I'll see you on the next one.